2nd, 2019. My name is Bill McCamley. I am the new Secretary Designate of the Workforce Solutions Department in the Lujan Grisham administration here in New Mexico. For those of you that know me, I have been doing, as a legislator, which I was until yesterday, these legislative updates regarding what's going on in the legislature and policy there, and people seem to get a lot out of them. So I'm doing another one of these, hoping that people really find them useful. And once again, if you have questions or concerns about any of these at the end, please let me know. Yesterday, the governor gave a speech at her inauguration that was filled with positivity, energy, and passion. And it was really filled with a hope that we in the state can do better. We all know the numbers, and we all need to find ways of creating better lives for families in New Mexico. In my case here at Workforce Solutions, which is our labor department, we need to make sure that everybody who wants to get a job in the state can do so and can make a living where they can take care of their family. And there are 3 specific things that the governor has tasked me to do that I'm really working on and frankly agree with wholeheartedly. The first is raise the minimum wage and make sure people are getting what they owe. So currently our state minimum wage is only $7.50 an hour. That's far, far lower than Colorado and Arizona, 2 of our neighbors. And when you see places like Arkansas and Missouri, which are not really progressive bastions, that raise their minimum wage to, it's going to be about $10 an hour each. We need to be doing that here, and that has to happen at the legislative session. The governor's been very strong that we should raise it to $10 an hour right away, moving to 11 and 12 within a few years, and then moving up with the cost of living from there. And that's something we need to work on, and I need to help out with. We also need to make sure that those people that are making minimum wage get paid what they're owed. And we currently have a backlog in my department, which is responsible for investigating what they call wage theft claims, which means they're not being paid what they're owed, of over 1,800. And we need to make sure that we're getting the resources necessary to investigate these claims. So if people are not getting paid what they're owed, they need to get that money. It's important to them, it's important to their families, and it's frankly the law. And so we're working on that. The second thing is apprenticeships. If you look at some states around the country, Colorado, South Carolina, Maryland, they've really gone to this European model of apprenticeships where you can learn during some part of your week or some part of your day in a classroom and move to a company and learn specific company practices and get paid for it at the same time. Now, this is a traditional thing for things like electricians, plumbers, welders, that sort of thing. And we have programs like that here in New Mexico. But what these other states have done is say, let's take this model and let's expand it to other areas where you don't need a 4-year degree to get a job. And it's a policy change that has worked in other places, and we're aiming to try to do something similar here. The governor talked about it during her campaign, and she's committed to making it work, and that's something that I need to work on. So how do we say, for instance, we have a growing film sector here in New Mexico, and Netflix is coming to Albuquerque. Can we work with them on creating an apprenticeship program for folks that want to be set designers and makeup artists and the like? We have down in Santa Teresa on the border, we have a really huge manufacturing base that doesn't really use apprenticeship programs right now. Can we expand there? In Roswell, there is a really large, at the old Walker Air Force Base, industry where they take old planes and retrofit them and get them back up to spec and then move them back out. They have expressed interest in moving in an apprenticeship program. So we need to start saying, how do we do this through legislation and through policy to grow that area of people finding good jobs and making money while they learn how to do it? It's a good thing, and we're going to try to do it. The last thing is really trying to work with our community colleges to make sure that we're doing what we can in terms of education for nurses and med techs. Everywhere in the state, there is a huge gap between the amount of medical personnel needed and the amount of people that are educated in those areas and that need to get a job. And that's something we're going to start exploring and figuring out how we can create a better statewide network for those services. So my first trip as a secretary will be to Ruidoso and Alamogordo on Friday. It's really important to the governor that those of us on the cabinet really get out to all parts of the state. Everyone needs to know that we're listening to them and we're working for them. And I'm starting in 2 days to do that, to talk about jobs in the tourism and clean energy sector in Ruidoso, and then moving down to Alamogordo and talking with the president of NMSU Alamogordo about stuff they need there. And I'm really looking forward to it. And the last thing I'll say is this: I'm actually really, really impressed with the members of the cabinet that the governor has appointed so far. They're really smart, They're really experienced and talented, and they're very diverse. They come from very, very different backgrounds, and I think that's exactly the kind of crew that we need to do a better job here in the state. So as always, thank you for watching this, and I hope everyone is having a really wonderful and safe beginning to their year. Thanks, y'all.